Hello and welcome to my bedroom. I've been working on this quilting project up here with my helper Madeline here. Anyway, I'm wearing my pom-pom necklace in honor of the project that I want to share with you today. I've been working with a school out in Steveston, and I showed some of the kids how to make pom-poms, but we ran out of time and I didn't get a chance to show them how to finish the pom-poms. There are many different ways to make pom-poms, so I thought I would share this video and show you how I make them. Anyway, I'll meet you downstairs in the studio in just a minute. To start with, what you need are two circles of card, and I'm using some index cards, and I cut my circles out with my circle punch, and you may not have one of those, but you can use a jar lid to trace around or a roll of tape and just draw a circle on two pieces of card and then cut it out, and you'll end up with two circles like this. Once you've cut your circles out, what you'll want to do is to cut out a circle in the middle to make kind of a donut shape. And the easiest way to do that is to fold the paper in half and then cut a half a circle, and then when you open it up, it's a full circle. So you don't want this circle in the middle to be too big or too small. You want it to be just right, because we're going to be wrapping yarn around donut, and if the circle in the middle is too small, you're not going to be able to wrap very much yarn, and you'll have a loose and not very full pom-pom. So you want there to be quite a big hole, but you don't want the hole to be too big, because this width, the distance between the inside circle and the outside circle, that will determine how big your pom-pom is, because that is going to be how long each of these threads are. It's a little bit of math for you. So the next thing to do is to cut off some yarn from your ball, because you need the yarn to go through the middle of your circle. And you can do this one string at a time, or you can double it up 4 times, 6 times. How many multiples do you want to do? Now, you need to go through the middle of your circle, wrap the yarn around the middle of your circle. So one end of the yarn, you'll start it at the outer edge of the circle, and then you will wrap around and around and around. Now I've kind of chosen Christmas colors here. That was not intentional, but I just noticed that these are quite Christmassy, these colors. And you'll keep wrapping around, and this is going to take a long time. You'll just keep wrapping and wrapping and wrapping until the hole in the middle of your circle is completely full, and you can't possibly wrap any more yarn through. I've run out, so now I can switch to another color, measure it out so that they're about the same length. My yarn prepared, and wind around some more. Just keep going and going and going, and then you do more. So you see how I'm going all the way around, and I'm not worrying that there's little bits of card sticking out, because eventually it'll all get covered up. But if I stopped now, my pom-pom would not be very full. You might also notice that this hole in the middle is starting to fill in. It's not as big as it used to be. So, more colors. You don't have to worry about tying the ends. You can leave them loose like I have. But if you find they get in the way or things start to unravel, you can always tie your new yarn bundle onto the old one. And as you can see, this takes a long time. And when you think you're almost finished, you can even do more. And the more you do, the more patient you are, and the more you do, the fuller your pom-pom will be. So using 6 threads at a time is much faster than doing 1 thread at a time, 6 times faster. What does that mean? 6 times faster. Let's do some math now, shall we? So if I use 6 threads at a time, I could do as much winding in 1 minute as I could do in 6 minutes if I did only 1 thread at a time. Again, you notice I'm not really worrying about these bits that are hanging out. I can tuck them in again if they're bothering me. And it does not matter at all. Everything will work out. So let's see what I can do here now. Because this hole in the middle is getting a bit small, it can get hard to get the thread through. I can thread my yarn onto a needle, and I'm using this metal one, but if you have a plastic needle, you can use that as well. And thread my yarn through the needle. Oh, here's the little hole that I cut out. You see how much smaller the hole in the middle is than when we started? So I'm going to use this needle to help me to get my yarn through the middle, now that that hole is getting so small. And you can keep going until you can't possibly get any more thread through the middle. And eventually that hole in the middle is going to disappear completely. I think we're pretty much there now. Now, when you don't think you can fit any more yarn through that hole in the middle, it's time to stop. So the next part of this process is right around this outer edge, as carefully as I can, right along the edge. I don't want to be over to one side or the other side. I want to be right along the outer edge here. I'm going to cut through all of the yarn. And the easy way to cut right around the edge is to go in between the two circles, the 2 pieces of card in the middle. And then once you've done that, you can see it's starting to look like a bit like a pom-pom with piece card in the middle. And you need to take another piece of string, one of the strings that you were using previously. It doesn't have to be too terribly long. And you'll wrap it a few times, leaving both of the ends hanging out. You'll wrap it a few times around the pom-pom in between those two pieces of card, and pull that, tie a knot, pull it really tight, and wrap around a few more times. Tie another knot. double knot, and then the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to cut out the pieces of card. You snip them, or you can tear them if that's easier, and then once you cut to the middle, you can pull them out. Pull out the cards, both of the pieces of cards. You can use those pieces of cards again. You can just tape up the cuts, and there you go. You have a pom-pom. Now you can trim it if you like. You can clip off some of the long bits if you would like the ends on your pom-pom to be a little bit more even, or you can just leave it kind of shaggy. It's up to you. And there you go. And that's it. Another pom-pom.